Okay, opener.
Yep.
So here are the 5 ways how not to get punctures on your e-bike. And don't forget to let us know in the comments if you have any suggestions of your own. Tip number 1, tire choice. Now, there's a compromise to be had here. In an ideal world, you'd want the supplest and lightest tire possible, as it'll roll faster and have a much better road feel, which for many people gives a boost of confidence. However, in most cases, the fastest tires, amazing as they are, will usually be lacking when it comes to puncture resistance. Instead, you want a tire that's big on protection rather than out-and-out speed. A prime example would be something like the Schwalbe Marathon tire, available in sizes to fit most bikes, including the 16-inch wheels on a Brompton. The Marathon tire has achieved almost legendary status as one of the toughest tires around. It's for this reason I chose them for my 4,100-mile ride across Canada that consisted of road edges filled with all sorts. And when I finally replaced them 6,000 miles later, I had just 3 punctures in total. Not bad. That incredible puncture resistance means that the tires are a little heavier than some and aren't quite the fastest rolling or most supple tire around, but that misses the point. This tire is all about stopping just about anything getting through, and for that reason, it's a brilliant way to prevent punctures. Tip number 2, once you've got your super fancy puncture resistant tires, remember to keep them at their optimum pressures.
I like it.
What's going on back there? The bike is together, they're trying to get me. Stay safe, wear your helmet, children. It's debatable whether running your tires slightly too high or too low will increase the likelihood of a sharp piercing the rubber. However, what we can say for sure is running them too low will increase your chances of getting a pinch puncture, although you may have also heard them called a snake bite. Pinch punctures occur when you hit the edge of an object. Something like a pothole or curb will do nicely. If your tire pressure is too low, the tube inside will get squashed and pinch the inner tube inside against the rim. This will result in a swiftly deflating tire and the need for a new inner tube. You can easily tell if you've had a pinch puncture, as there's usually 2 slits in the tube where it's been squashed against the rim. So remember to keep your tires pumped up to their optimum pressures, as this will make them much more likely to be able to deal with an untimely hit on a curb or pothole. While a few points on our list will cost you some money, our next tip is absolutely free: road awareness. Despite our best efforts, eventually we're all going to get a puncture on our bikes. But there are some things you can do to reduce the chance and stack the odds back in your favor. So how you position yourself in the road is really important, especially when it comes to avoiding punctures. You want to be far enough out to avoid all the debris that the cars push into the gutter, like you can see here. While leaves may look pretty innocent, they're actually really dangerous because they're slippery and they could be hiding things like glass and nails. And keeping farther out, I'd say at least 75 centimeters, also has the benefit of keeping you safe because it prevents cars from trying to squeeze past you where they shouldn't. Tip number 4 is actually 2 ways to prevent punctures: tubeless setup and puncture prevention fluid. Every time! Tip number 4 is actually 2 ways to reduce punctures. Okay, again. Tip number 4 is 2 ways to reduce punctures. Tip number 4 is actually 2 ways to prevent punctures: puncture prevention fluid and a tubeless setup. Puncture prevention fluid is inserted directly into your inner tube. If a puncture occurs, the sealant reacts with the air and plugs the hole. So, in theory, the only sign you may have you've even had a puncture will be the small loss of air in your tires. Tubeless works in a very similar way, but this time you forgo your inner tube and insert the sealant directly into your tire. There are pros and cons to both methods, which we don't have time to go into here. What we can say is to make sure you consult your local pure electric shop before finding out which method will work best with your bike. as not all bikes are suitable for the full tubeless setup. But for those smaller holes, which let's face it, are the most common, both styles are great ways of reducing your chances of an untimely flat. Our final point, and another easy one, keep an eye on your tires. Just like any other moving part of a bike, eventually tires will need to be replaced. However, if you put off replacing a worn tire, then amongst other things, you're upping your chances of getting a puncture. Naturally, a worn tire will have less tread down the middle, which makes it easier for stones and glass to get through. Tires can also crack as they age, and these cracks once again make it easy for sharp objects to work their way inside. Sometimes tires have a wear indicator on them, which will let you know when they need replacing. Otherwise, cracks or a particularly worn strip down the middle are a good sign it's time for a new set. So there are our tips. If you have any tips of your own, please leave them in the comments. And finally, thanks for watching. Goodbye.